My roommate's prank sent me to the ER, then he asked me to lie to the police. I moved in with Carlos in September because the rent was cheap and he seemed harmless enough. Allison told me I was being naive. There's something off about him, she said. I laughed it off. The prank happened 3 months later. Carlos had been hyping it up for days, grinning whenever I walked into the kitchen, promising I'd love what he had planned. I figured it would be something stupid. Plastic wrap on the toilet seat, fake lottery tickets, the usual roommate garbage. I came home from the gym on a Thursday night. My protein shake was in the fridge where I'd left it that morning. I drank half of it before my throat started closing. The hospital said it was a severe allergic reaction, shellfish. I'm deathly allergic to shellfish, which Carlos knew because I'd told him the first week I moved in. I'd shown him my EpiPen, explained that even trace amounts could kill me. Carlos showed up at the ER looking panicked, not guilty. He called it just a prank, said he didn't think I'd actually drink it, that he'd assumed I'd smell it or something. I was too busy trying to breathe to respond. The doctors kept me overnight for observation. The police came the next morning. A detective named Grace sat beside my hospital bed and asked me to walk her through what happened. I told her about the protein shake, the allergic reaction, the EpiPen I'd barely managed to use before passing out. Grace asked if my roommate knew about my allergy. I confirmed he did. She wrote something down and said she'd need to speak with him. Carlos called me an hour after she left. Listen, man, I need you to tell them it was an accident. Tell them you grabbed the wrong shake or something. They're talking about assault charges. My hands started shaking. You put shellfish in my drink. It was supposed to be funny. You were supposed to notice before you drank it. Come on, we're friends. You're not going to ruin my life over a stupid mistake, are you? I hung up. Allison came by that afternoon. She sat in the chair Grace had used and didn't say, "I told you so," which I appreciated. She told me quietly that the detective had called her, wanting to know if she'd ever witnessed Carlos doing anything concerning. I asked what she'd told Grace, that I'd warned you about him months ago, that your ex-girlfriend Sally had warned you too, before we started dating, that everyone who met Carlos felt something was wrong, but you kept defending him because he was just awkward. I felt cold. I hadn't realized Sally had warned me. Allison reminded me of the conversation. She told you Carlos made her uncomfortable, that he asked too many questions about you, about your routines, about your allergies. You said she was being dramatic. I remembered that conversation. Sally had broken up with me 2 weeks later. I thought it was because I'd chosen Carlos's feelings over hers. Allison pulled out her phone saying there was something else. Grace had asked her to show me a text thread from Carlos's ex-roommate Edward, who'd reached out after hearing what happened. The messages made my stomach drop. Edward described 6 months of escalating pranks from Carlos, missing medications, tampered food, a gas leak that Edward had noticed just in time. He told the police it was all accidents. They couldn't prove otherwise. I moved out, didn't press charges because I was scared of what he'd do next. Grace came back that evening. She explained they'd found a journal in Carlos's room after my landlord gave permission to search when they told him what happened. The journal had entries about me, my schedule, my allergies, things that could go wrong. He called them experiments. My mouth went dry. I repeated the word back to her, barely believing it. Grace confirmed there were entries about Edward too, and another roommate before him, Gareth. Both had moved out after medical emergencies that Carlos documented in detail. He wrote that you were too trusting, and he wanted to see how far he could push before you noticed. The reveal hit me like ice water. This wasn't a prank that went wrong. Carlos had been systematically testing how much he could hurt me before I caught on. I pressed charges. Carlos is awaiting trial now, and Allison helped me find a new place. I should have listened when she said something was off.